Welcome back to Down the Track, and probably one of the busiest days in sport is upon us. It's Boxing Day, 26th December is full of football and cricket. There's quite a few cancellations in football, but the cricket is good to go as far as I can tell. We have the Ashes third Test match, and we have India tour of South Africa, the first Test match there. My co-host Aziz, how are you, man? This is a day that we do look forward to always.
Absolutely. Right after this podcast, I'm gonna go get a nap. I'm gonna get 6 hours of sleep so I can get ready for all the games.
Yeah, man, sleep becomes difficult in this period. Even though we're in both different time zones, it will still be difficult for us to stay because it's what like continuous almost 16 hours of cricket because it'll be 8 hours and then another 8 hours.
and
Uh,
and it's my wife's birthday, so it doesn't help.
oh wow! I mean, that's not in your control. If it was anniversary, then I would criticize you a bit. But like,
Yeah,
birthday, you
that's
can't
not in
do
my
anything
control.
about
I
it.
took the off. I got married in the off season. That's precisely why.
Yeah. But yeah, happy birthday to your wife in advance. But really looking forward to these games. Let's start with India and South Africa. I think this is India's best opportunity. I thought last tour was India's best opportunity, but now surely I still feel you can't take the South African team for granted. In these conditions, they will cause some issues, especially their fast bowling. Rabada, there's no Nokia, but Ngidi and Duan Olivier, they can cause some issues as well. So I think these conditions won't be too easy. There's some overcast as well, and the pitches, there's that spongy bounce, so it'll be up and down a bit. Your thoughts going into this series?
Yeah, South Africa has always been like this. The Test series has been a difficult place for India to always travel. We've gone to England, gone to Australia, and we've done well. But South Africa has been the one place in the past 15 years. I think there have barely been any victories. I think there was just about one or two Test match wins or something in the past many years. So it is a difficult place to go. And South Africa, like you said, is not a side that can be taken lightly. But this is the most depleted we've seen South Africa in a long, long time. Even when they were not the greatest team in the world, but they always had like class batsmen, class bowlers. But I think this time there's like a lot of newer guys. There's a lot of political problems as well. There's a lot of backroom issues and stuff like that. So I think if you don't beat South Africa now, there's not going to be a better chance to beat them. Like you said, it's probably their best chance. And this is an Indian side now, which is full of confidence. Yes, the middle order is shaky, but there's a bowling side that is par excellence. I think at this point, they can really go and make inroads into this relatively weaker South African side. And if you can manage the bowlers well, I think we have a very very good chance. I'm looking forward to this series because there's a lot of stake from what's happened in behind the scenes as well with the Virat Rohit situation. How Rahul Dravid manages that, and if they can really come out and just play cricket and forget about all the problems and keep that aside, that would be very interesting to see. But this is a very open situation now, with the South Africa having their backroom issues and India having their backroom issues on a completely different level, though. So I'd be very interested to see how both teams can come out and play on the field.
Yeah, and South Africa is generally a place where there's a lot in it for the bowlers. The average score is 250, 300, but not average score, actually, like above average score is two
Yeah,
fifty, 300
yeah.
over there, right, in the first innings. But also, it helps the bowlers, but then there's value for your shots. It's a more of a place of counter attacking. Like, strike rates actually help in South Africa. I
Yeah.
think trying to play defensively, trying to, survive is not the best way to go over there. But, the way Quinton de Kock plays, the way Rishabh Pant plays, I think it'll suit them a bit more because the boundaries are smaller. And yeah, I think in general, it's a place where you get values for your shots and surviving becomes difficult. So it's a two-edged sword where you have to kind of balance it out when you're out there with the bat.
Absolutely. I think it's one of the most difficult places to kind of, control the urge to, go for the shot. And okay, you have to leave well in South Africa. That's very important. Like you said, there's a little bit of a sponge in the pitches a little bit. So, the odd ball can really bounce off or keep low sometimes, so you have to be very, very careful. It is like you said, it's going to be interesting to see how without any kind of practice matches, which we already criticized. Without that, how India will really set up. They've had a good week, 10 days of preparation though, which is always helpful. But at the same time, I still think that practice matches really change the course of how your mindset into the game. So if you go into bat first, India bats first, and they come up against a difficult South African line who's probably fired up, that could be a calamity. So there's going to be very interesting to see how this kind of work plays out. Like I said, I'm looking forward to it.
Yeah, and if you look at the Indian middle order, 4 years ago, the 2018 tour, 2017-18 tour, we had Rahane, Pujara, and Kohli. They were 28, 29, peak of their careers, I would say,
Yeah.
at the pinnacle, especially Virat Kohli. I think he scored 150 in one game as well, and he scored another 100 in Centurion itself. He scored 100 as well. So I think he had a really good tour. Last time around, but it's been the last couple of years to forget for Virat Kohli, for Pujara, and for Rahane. Does that kind of bother you in terms of their performances? Because me and you are both saying in the last 2 years that they're class players, they'll come back, they'll come back. But honestly, it hasn't happened, right? Virat Kohli's got the odd 70, 80. India have won test matches, but with no Rohit Sharma there this time around, and Rahane and Pujara are not full of confidence, do you think this will be a key store for Virat Kohli? And how do you see this middle order performing?
Yeah, I think even we've seen an odd 50 odd from Pujara as well. I think Rahane has been the biggest worry in terms of form. He's really not gotten out the he hasn't really gotten any big scores except for that century against Australia in the third test match or second test match, I think it was. Apart from that, I think he's really struggled to get some runs on the board. And I think that this is Rahane. I've said this before, but I think this is Rahane's last real chance, last real series to really make a mark. I still think that he will go into the first and the second test match. I think if he doesn't perform in both, that's when I think that these question marks and these probably the dropping situation will arise. I think at this point in time you have to back them. I think it's too difficult to put in raw talent in a South Africa tour, in a tour that is usually difficult for batsmen. You have to back your experienced guys, and hopefully they come good. That's all I can say at this point.
You go at the toss, you see overcast conditions, you're Virat Kohli, are you tempted to play four fast bowlers and no Ashwin?
If you're Virat Kohli, yes, because I know how he is a very instinctive guy. I think he really likes that instinct. So I still think that having Ashwin in this team is extremely important, because I think Ashwin is just more than a spinner only. He can outfox the batsman, as we've talked about before as well. I think even if he doesn't get too much purchase of the ball, he can really flight it. He can really bring something out of nowhere. I think that's the kind of bowler that he is, and I really think that he should be playing this test match for sure. And three fast bowlers, like we've discussed, right? 250, 300 is par score in Australian condition, in South African conditions. So you won't need that extra bowler at more often than not. So I think that go in with your four top, and then you have your seven batsmen and four bowlers, and then you should be good to go.
Yeah, and your South African players to watch out for me, of course, Rabada is always there.
Yeah.
And Aiden Markram, I think he's in really good
Good
form.
form. Yep.
Of course, counter-attack, that's what you would want to see from him, but also convert those 50, 60s into 100s. They have Dean Elgar, the captain now. We know him as a very gritty batsman. There's Bavuma. So how do you look at the South African attack? Of course, without Nokia, it looks a bit more depleted. And of course, you don't have the names of Faf, AB, and Hashim Amla, who were there that time around. But you still have some players who have experience, who have played this Indian attack as well in these conditions and in India. So how do you look at this team?
I think, like you said, I think missing Nokia is a big blow for South Africa. But I think that these guys are out there to prove a point. I think there's a lot has been talked about South African cricket. I think they made a good show of themselves even in the T20 World Cup, and no one gave them any kind of chance. They actually went out there. They showed some will to play. They showed that they shouldn't be taken lightly, and I think that we should learn from that, and we shouldn't take them lightly for sure. But at the same time, I think that there's too much raw talent, and this will be a good learning experience for them. That's why I expect India to come out on top. But I don't think that we can take them lightly at all. I think that there will be a lot of grit. There'll be a lot of the want to do well. I think, and I'm seeing that we saw it in T20 World Cup, and I think we'll continue to see that over here. So India will have to be at the top of their game. They want to beat them.
Yeah, and they have those batsmen, Elgar.
And I think Dean Elgar, Aiden Markram, you spoke about Bavuma. These guys are experienced players as well.
They're experienced players, yeah. And also watch out for Rian Mulder. I think all-rounder. I think he can cause some problems with the ball as well. And then we've seen India have some issues with the tail. So I think he can cause problems there. But speaking of that, team combination-wise, for India, if you want, I can give you 11 or the combination that you'd like to go with.
I think I have my 11 almost sorted. I feel terrible for Vihari, but I think that I have to leave him out. Because of a Shreyas Iyer century, I think I have to leave Vihari out. And I am giving Rahane. I am backing Rahane in this one. So for me, it's Mayank KL, Puji, Virat, Rahane, Iyer, Pant, and then the bowlers of Ashwin, and then we have Bumrah, Siraj, and Shami.
I'm going KL Rahul, Mayank Agarwal, 1 down Pujara, 2 down Virat Kohli, 3 down Vihari, 4 down Rishabh Pant, 5 down Shardul Thakur, Ashwin, Shami, Siraj, and Bumrah. The reason why I'm doing that, I'll tell you 2 reasons. One thing is that I agree that I think in these conditions you can be okay with four bowlers, but still I want the fifth option just because want to be ruthless in terms of bowling, not let the tail wag. Get that fifth bowler in, let him
Yeah.
bowl, and if, in case there's an injury or there's any issue with COVID and stuff with lockdown, you never know, someone can just pull a hammy, right? Like with that, I want to go safe that way, be aggressive. Also, like I said, I think South Africa is a counter-attacking place, and I think Shardul Thakur, if he can hook Pat Cummins for six in at the Gabba, I think he can do a job over there. He doesn't need to score 100. I don't think anyone coming in that position in Test cricket these days, apart like we've seen Travis Head, but
Yeah.
even he came at number 5, right?
Yeah.
You still have Bishop Pant or Vihari at 5. So I think someone batting at 7 can play that role. Ashwin and Shardul Thakur, I think they can play that role, and it puts more pressure on the batting lineup. And Virat Kohli, it'll put more pressure on him. He's not in the biggest of in the best of form, so that's why I understand. But the reason also is that I think Vihari, you sent him to South Africa for the India A tour for this series. So if you're not going to play him, there's no point. Why the hell did you send him? You wasted your ticket. That's how I feel.
Would you be dropping Shreyas Iyer after scoring a century?
Yeah.
I know why, but I'm just asking.
I don't know. I would drop him if you're playing 5 fast bowlers. If you're playing 6, I wouldn't drop him in place of Rahane. I would play him instead of Rahane. I'm only dropping him because I'm playing one less batsman, not because of thing. And I'm going with Vihari. I think he's my test batsman. I sent him to South Africa. I mean, the BCCI sent him to South Africa to get the practice in, to get used to the conditions. If you're not going to play him, why the hell did you send him in the first place? And I think that will help him. He played a crazy knock in Australia. We saw that he has the determination, the grit. And why not again? I'm just going with the 5 combo because I told you. But if you're going with the 4 bowling combo, I would play Iyer instead of Rahane. He has a short ball issue.
Yeah.
But in Test cricket, maybe he can get away with it by ducking. You can't get away with it, but it might not be as obvious. I think I'm gonna go. I would personally go with 5 bowlers and just finish off the tail and let Shardul Thakur play the counter-attacking innings, because him scoring 30 of 20 will be more useful than a 10 of 30 or 40 from Iyer or Rahane or Vihari, whoever plays on that slot at number 7.
Fair enough. That's a good point. That's another way of looking at it. I would be interested to see in the next few hours. Yeah, in the next few hours we'll know. So let's see how that kind of plays out. But it's
for
somewhat
South Africa,
risky.
Sorry, what did you say?
Somewhat risky, in my opinion.
Yeah, it is more risky, and I just feel that's how they should play, because you want to be a bit more cutthroat in this series. You don't want South Africa to give them any chance. If you pick up an injury, or if one of your bowlers gets tired or like it's not working, then you can quickly go and pick up those wickets. But again, South Africa is a place where it does assist the bowler, so maybe 4 might be enough.
Fair enough.
So I'm going aggressive. Go aggressive, and I think Shardul Thakur can bat. If you can hit Pat Cummins like that, you can bat. Ashwin survived 2 hours in Sydney on day 5 pitch. He can bat. So let them bat. You know what I mean? It doesn't work out. It doesn't work out. But I want my top 6 to perform with the bat. The other 2 give contributions. We've seen Shami put up a great partnership with Bumrah, was it, in England?
Yeah.
So, that's how I look at it. Play a bit more risky, but try to go for the kill. And for South Africa, a bit more straightforward, I feel. You have Elgar Markram, probably Keegan Peterson. They might try one down. Then Van der Dusen, Bavuma, Quinton de Kock, Wian Mulder, like I said, the all-rounder, Maharaj, Kagiso Rabada, and Gidi, and Dwan Olivier. So that's the thing. They're playing 4 fast bowlers with Mulder as the all-rounder. And then they have Maharaj. So, unfortunately, we don't have a couple Dev type player. Hardik Pandya was supposed to be that, but he's not there. And that's why I want to motor Shardul Thakur into that kind of thing where you can play that extra spinner and turn him into an all-rounder like that.
I think South Africa is pretty much picks themselves. I think these are the guys that they will definitely go with. Almost every other team except for India has that all-round option nowadays. India is the one that struggles with it, so that's why the selection headache, I guess, so to say. But if Shardul can perform like that, I would not be surprised if he makes that 11. He has proven in the past. I think we should back him to do that again for sure.
Yeah. And bro, if they go with my combination or your combination, if they lose, they're gonna get stick. If you win, you're gonna get praise. It's just about backing your instincts and how you will be comfortable. If you're comfortable with 4 bowlers, you go with that. If you're not comfortable, you want to go with an extra batsman. If Virat Kohli himself doesn't feel as confident going a batsman short, then you can't go a batsman short, right?
Fair enough.
Ideally, it would have been Virat Kohli scoring those 100s and 200s, and you don't need that extra batsman. So, that's what it is. What it is. You can't do much about it. Let's see how, like you said, we'll have to wait until the toss. Your prediction for the match and for the series?
India to win it in the match. Series. Let's talk about the series after the first game.
After the first game, you want to see how it goes. Yeah, India has never won a series in South Africa.
Yeah.
Neither has Pakistan, but Sri Lanka has, and there was that wonderful innings as well from Kusal Pereira. Was it? Yeah, it was
Oof,
an
Kusal
unbelievable
Perera.
innings.
Yeah, and there are
Yeah,
there are only three Test captains who won in South Africa, and two of them are in the dressing room at this point. One is Virat, who's the captain, and one is Rahul Dravid, who's the coach. So let's see how it goes.
yeah, and Virat Kohli to score 100 before the end
He
of the year.
has to, man. He has to just get that century out the way, shut everyone up, just do it.
I'm not asking about this. Yeah, first let me ask you: in the match or in the series?
I think he's going to do it in this match. I think he seems extremely focused. There's that fire in his eyes. I think he wants to go for it. Unfortunately though, I think I've seen it even in the previous Test match against England, and he's really struggled over there. I think he's still that same determined guy, but I think that there's something that it's starting to play in his mind a little bit that I need the century, I need the century. I think that he should just go out there, play his cricket. If century comes good, if the 50 comes, it's good, whatever. He really needs to just get out of his mindset. That's the problem I think that he has right now.
Yeah, no, 100%. I feel that it's going to be a close series, 2-1 for India. If
Yeah,
India
I
don't
think
win,
fair
if
enough.
India
Yeah.
don't win the series, it's going to be you're going to get criticized because although you cannot underestimate the South African team, but you will criticize India for
A
sure.
lot is on the line in terms of the ICC
Yeah,
points as well. The test championship points. So it's very important that they win the series.
yeah, 100%. But yeah, I think that wraps up this kind of game. This game in particular, I think it's going to be. Hopefully, it's going to be a cracker. There's some weather around, so hopefully the rain stays away and we get some nice sunshine and some good cricket. But going into the other game, which is starting in 2.5 hours exactly, the
Yeah.
toss is in 2 hours, a bit closer. Australia versus England has been such a one-sided series. It's literally put me to sleep. It's already difficult to stay awake, and it's honestly been so one-sided. I've not enjoyed it so far. Will we see a turnaround at the Melbourne Cricket Ground, Boxing Day? Will England show up or not?
Oh, well, they better, because otherwise it's just going to get such a pasting they've been getting in the past couple of games. It's just so unfortunate. They've done everything that they could. In their 11. They've done already what they could. Replaced Burns. They've replaced Pope. They've gotten the experience of a Johnny Bairstow, which was probably missing in that middle order. They've gotten rid of Broad and gotten Leach. They've made the changes that they possibly could. They've gotten Zach Crawley, who's not been at the best of his form, but I think that's the only other option that they have in the opening front. And Hasib has looked okay in the small innings that he's been, but he has to just come out of that and try to give them the. We've spoken so many times about, if you can get rid of the first 15-20 overs in Australia without losing any games, losing any wickets, you really have the next 40-50 overs to really capitalize. And I think if the openers can really do a job, like we saw with Australia, even if they lost the wicket of Marcus Harris, Manas and Davy were able to really break the back of the England bowlers. And then once that happens, they just go out there and score those 300-400 runs. That is what changes the game for Australia. So that's what I think that England need to do. They need to have two of their top three to really go out there and take the first 20-25 overs of the scruff of the neck. They don't score too many runs, that's fine, because you have the next 50 overs till the new ball to really capitalize. And they have the players like Johnny Bairstow, Butler, Stokes too, can really capitalize on those 40-50 overs if they can do it. The top four should just go out there, try to keep their wickets intact, and then let these 5, 6, and 7, who are very, very good, talented batsmen, to really go for it. That's probably the way they should go forward. And bowling a little bit more bite in their bowling, and they have the capabilities. The bowlers, the likes of Bold, Robinson, Anderson, these guys are world class quality bowlers. Just a little bit more improvement in the lines and lengths. I think they have the capability to do it. I think England really needs to show up. If they don't, it's going to be such a it's going to be like a criticism of no other kind. Like it's just been so poor from them all over. A little bit more application, they have what it takes, I think.
Yeah, and also I think the bowlers will have to hit that hard length, be a bit bend their back a bit more,
Yeah.
put that extra hard yards in. And in Australia, I think you have to have a bit more pace than just line and length. You saw Siraj bending his back a bit. We saw Natarajan. Like sometimes even if you don't get the line length right, you can get wickets by just pulling it a bit quicker. So I think that's something they'll have to work on. And it's not like India had express bowlers. After Bumrah got injured and Shami got injured, there's not too much pace, but they still managed to pick up wickets. And a bit like 2-3 kilometers more does make a difference. Also, fielding has been a huge issue. We talked
Abysmal.
about chain. I think he's given 100 chances a game. Like even against India, this guy gets chances, and he's gonna capitalize. He's already very, very good lever of the ball. He has the patience. When he does nick one, you have to take it because he otherwise rarely nicks it throughout. He'll learn from his mistakes. He'll make that mistake after that. Once he's settled, it's difficult to get him out.
Absolutely, I think 100%. I think that they have to be, I think, at least 50 times better in their fielding. I think they've been shocking. Some
Would you?
terrible misfield, some poor no balls, some easy drop chances. I think they really have to just, if they get the basics right, they already are so much better than they have looked. Just get the basics right. Do your fielding, do your bowling well. You don't bowl the 19 no balls that you've been bowling. That's unacceptable in this level, man. Come on. So
Yeah.
those kind of things, they just really need to push themselves and get the basics right. And if they lose after that, if it's a hard-fought loss, it's fair enough. You're allowed to lose games, but you have to really fight hard. That's the most
Yeah, and
important thing.
This Australian team will make mistakes. It's not like they're unbeatable. But if you're going
Absolutely.
to make 10 times more mistakes than they will, then there's no way you're going to get through. Josh Butler, do you see him keep the gloves, or would you give it to Besto? Because he took some spectacular catches, Butler, but dropped some sitters as well.
Yeah, I think Butler's concentration is worrying. But if you drop him now as a keeper, I think that'll really hit his confidence. So I think that go back him and
You
and
find
hope
him a
that he
better
doesn't make
keeper
those mistakes.
than Besto? You think he's a better keeper than Besto?
I think he's a more. I think he can do better in those crazy catches that he takes. I don't think Besto does that, but
Yeah.
Besto does the basics right. That's the problem. So
Yeah,
now
I think
what
it's
are you gonna do?
Yeah, more of concentration. And that's the thing, we saw in the India Australia series as well. Tim Payne screw up as well behind the
Yeah,
stump. So
yeah,
when you make mistakes like that, it costs your team. You have to be on the ball. And England already have not been challenging, so they need to make up for those mistakes. The,
absolutely.
getting Australia all out for 250 is always on the cards, but they're dropping catches and letting the score go past
400.
400.
Yeah,
And there's some new faces we're going to see. Boland, I think he's
yeah.
coming in for Richardson. I think I might have seen him in the Big Bash, but a big news for Australia. He's the first Aboriginal to represent them. I think not the first Aboriginal, but there is something there, some story behind it, and it's a very surprise call because. Nasser, yes, he goes out for Pat Cummins, but we expected Jai Richardson, who picked up Pfeiffer, to play. But I think they clearly said they want to rest him, and it's a surprise call for Boland, someone debuting in a Test series. Australia 2 up. He doesn't. He will be nervous because he doesn't want to disturb that winning rhythm.
Absolutely. I mean, there's a big shock from me over there. I don't know what it is. It almost seems like an inside edge call from the top kind of entry. I didn't know that the name existed before. So
Jai Richardson has a leg injury apparently, so maybe
uh,
that's why he's getting rested. That's why he's
that
probably.
makes sense because Jared Richardson got a fifer. You can't drop someone after getting a fifer almost. So
Yeah.
okay, so it makes sense that he has somewhat of an injury. It comes in as a complete surprise to me. Honestly, I know
Scott
Josh
Boland.
Hazelwood is also injured, but he come in over there, Boland, and he comes in with apparently some good games behind him, good games under his belt. So he's probably in some kind of form that they've looked into, and
For the Super Shield, he's been pretty decent.
So hopefully, he comes in and he really, just goes out and does the basics right. Because, you have the likes of Cummins and Stark who are really looking good now. All you need to do is support them, get maybe an odd wicket here and there. Cameron Green probably comes in to play a little bit more because he's also been really good. I think for the few overs that he's bowled, he's been picking up wickets consistently, which is nice. Nathan Leon finally gets that 400 and then suddenly he's starting to pick up wickets at for fun. So, this is a solid Australian side. They just have to do what they've been doing. And I think that they can continue to keep steamrolling the England side. Even if England kind of puts up a fight, I still think that Australia has that little bit more vigor that will probably help them cross the line again. I think in this game as well.
Yeah, no, 100%. And I think it's a blessing in disguise that some of the bowlers are getting injured, or and like fresh faces are coming. It keeps you in fresh legs. We saw what happened when you play 5 tests in a row or 4 tests in
Yeah,
a row. It
yeah,
becomes very difficult on the body,
yeah.
especially for fast bowlers. So I wouldn't say of course, Josh Hazelwood would be wanting to playing this Ashes, but I think it's good that you see new faces. You saw Richardson come in straight away, take 5 wickets, and I think against this England batting, which does look fragile, fresh legs won't really hamper Australia. It'll actually benefit.
Absolutely. And if they win this one, then they can let Stark take rest as well. So
Yeah, they can chill. Stark does have a niggle, but I think he will play this test match, but
yeah,
he'll probably
no, they've
get a rest.
already announced him to play the test match.
Yeah,
So yeah,
he will play. Yeah, sorry, they've announced him. I'm not used to this where they are not like in Australia. It happens particularly more. Even India started announcing their 11s
yeah,
before. But
that's such a
yeah, I
Virat
think
Kohli move. He's like, I got you guys. It's like,
yeah, but yeah, I think for Australia, if they win this, they'll be chilling for the next two test matches. England have to win; they don't have a choice. A draw would be okay, but a win is what they want to go for. MCG pitch, you're expecting it to be lively like the last test, or the previous ones have been like dead, like
yeah,
where they're
yeah.
scoring 500-600 runs.
Yeah, I'm really hoping for a little bit of grass on there because I think that's Australia's strength as well. They have the bowlers that can really make use of that or take advantage of those kind of pitches, and I think that they will really, they've had enough time to like prepare it. They haven't played they haven't played test matches over there for a while now. So hopefully they have like a fresh pitch ready for some action, and I really hope it's green and lush green. I think it'll help England and Australia, but I think Australia is going to win this one. Can you hear
So
me? Hello?
yeah,
Hello?
yeah, I can hear you.
Are you still there?
Yeah, can you hear me? I got you. I can hear you. I think technical issues got away. He'll probably come back in a bit. If not, then yeah, just wrapping it up. It looks like Australia's Test series to win. It's going to be difficult for England, but they have to come back. They'll have to find something there. The likes of Ben Stokes, Joss Butler, and Root Bairstow, these big players have to step up, as well as their bowlers have to step up as well. Jimmy Anderson, Mark Ward Robinson, they'll have to pick it up, bowl some with some good pace and accurate lines and lengths. And yeah, that's exactly what my co-host Abrar was saying. And yeah, hopefully we get to see a cracker, and hopefully England win just for the sake of the series to stay alive. And we want to see some quality Test cricket as well. But yeah, a lot of cricket to look forward to on Boxing Day. 5 days of great cricket, hopefully, and it's going to be a lot of fun. Thank you so much for joining us, and until next time, take care, and we will get you the updates throughout the Test series for both matches. Thank you so much for joining me, and take care.